Hey, church family. I'm here in the sanctuary, just plopped down here on the floor, actually, in front of the altars, for no really great reason other than I just decided to sit down in here. It's probably going to sound a little echoey. I like to come in here sometimes and just sit and listen, sit quietly. You can hear the fans moving air, circulating air. I like to look around at the stained glass. I like to come in here sometimes and just pray. During this whole COVID-19 pandemic, where we were socially distanced and isolated, I would call it, for, what was it, 15 weeks, 14 weeks, just online. Like nobody here in the building. I would pray for the, names in our, what's that thing called? Yeah, that thing that you're thinking of. The list of all the names. Our church, I almost said it. That word that every one of you is thinking right now, our not bulletin, it's got all the names and numbers and people and name. What is it called? Oh Lord, I don't know. A directory, got it. Church directory. It's called a church directory. Thank you for everybody that was screaming it out. I would come in here and pray through the names. Not every name on every day, but I would pray through parts of it, try to pray specifically if people had stuff going on that I was aware of. And so I enjoy this space. And so I decided to plop down here in the sanctuary and bring this Tuesday video to you. Talkabout Tuesday. I'm actually bringing it on Tuesday. I remembered. And I'm not going to yawn, I don't think, although I am feeling pretty tired. So it was exciting to have church in person again. I got to tell you, though, I'm really missing people. I love that we are starting to meet again, but there are so few of us meeting. And I just long to have our church family back. And all those that are visiting and new, just to be in this space and to feel the life in this space. I love to sit in here because it just feels like it's buzzing with life. I walked through here, gosh, when was that? I walked through here a few days ago. It might have been Saturday morning. I can't remember now. It was short. It wasn't too long ago. And the sun was just, it might have been actually not a morning. I think it was toward an evening. Anyway, I came over here, and the sun, I believe, was setting. So that's the west side of the building, this way. The sun was coming right through the big stained glass in the top and coming in through some of the ones on the side. And it was just so beautiful in here. It just made me so grateful that we have a space like this to come and pray. It just feels so peaceful and calm. And the colors were beautiful coming through the stained glass. And so I'm here today I'm going to share a Devo. I'm sharing Oswald's Devo from today. Oswald Chambers, My Utmost for His Highest. I'm just going to share July 7th's devotional with you. This Sunday, we are going to be finishing our series, The Psalm Total. I'm always excited when we finish a series. I'm always sad when we finish a series. I'm always a little bit nervous when we finish a series. Not in terms of worry, but just like, where are we going next type of worry. I like to be prepared. And I love to study and be prepared, or to get prepared. So it's like a mix of emotions as we're finishing up. But we're going to finish up that series this Sunday as we look at Psalm 139, verse 24b, which says, and lead me in a way, and lead me in the way, and lead me in the way everlasting. a culmination of our Psalm total prayer, right? And lead me in the way, your way, everlasting. I have an idea on a text, although I haven't had time today to study through. So tomorrow will be some devoted to some of that study. Tomorrow and Thursday, definitely have some direction by Friday. I've got some things that have been floating around in my head just today. So I'm interested to see what God has in store from even me in this study as we prepare for Sunday. Let me share this Devo with you. It says, all efforts of worth and excellence are difficult. That's the title. Oswald references Matthew 7, verses 13 to 14, pieces of them, 13 to 14. Remember, this is Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, which is Matthew 5, chapter 5, chapter 6, and chapter 7. So this is toward the end of chapter 7, or is in chapter 7. It says this, enter by the narrow gate, because narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way which leads to life. So this is the text that Oswald is referencing when he writes this. If we are going to live as disciples of Jesus, we have to remember that all our efforts of worth and excellence are difficult. The Christian life is gloriously difficult, but its difficulty does not make us faint and cave in. It stirs us up to overcome. Do we appreciate the miraculous salvation of Jesus Christ enough to be our utmost for his highest, our best, for his glory? God saves people by his sovereign grace through the atonement of Jesus. And, quote, it is God who works in you both to will and to do his good pleasure. Philippians 2:13. We have to work out that salvation in our everyday practical living. That's from Philippians 2, verse 12. If we only start on the basis of his redemption to do what he commands, and then we find that we can do it, if we fail, let me rephrase that sentence. If we only start on the basis of his redemption to do what he commands, then we will find that we can do it. If we fail, it is because we have not yet put into practice what God has placed within us. But a crisis will reveal whether or not we have been putting it into practice. If we will obey the Spirit of God and practice in our physical life what God has placed within us by his Spirit, then when a crisis does come, we will find that our own nature, as well as the grace of God, will stand by us. And he ends this thought, this devotional, with this paragraph. Thank God that he does give us difficult things to do. His salvation is a joyous thing, but it is also something that requires bravery, courage, and holiness. It tests us for all we are worth. Jesus is, quote, bringing many sons to glory, Hebrews 2:10. And God will not shield us from the requirements of sonship. God's grace produces men and women with a strong family likeness to Jesus Christ, not pampered, spoiled weaklings. It takes a tremendous amount of discipline to live the worthy and excellent life of a disciple of Jesus in the realities of life. And it is always necessary for us to make an effort to live a life of worth and excellence. That Devo is powerful. A Devo can be challenging. I just read it earlier today and thought, wow, that's a really good one. I want to share that. Because if there's one thing I've learned in my walk of faith, is that it is not easy. I think we do a disservice to Christianity and in not sharing the difficulties that are expressly shared from Jesus himself that we will face. You know? In John 16, verse 33, he says that in this world you will have trouble, or you will find trouble. In this world there will be trouble. But take heart, I've overcome the world. Jesus is very clear that walking by faith is not easy. That choosing Christ, to actually surrender ourselves. Maybe that's why I'm sitting here in the sanctuary this afternoon. To actually surrender ourselves, to bow down, to say that not my will but yours, to put ourselves in that position takes a tremendous amount of effort. It's interesting to think that surrender takes effort, but think of what you have to surrender, right? You have to surrender self, pride. You have to surrender all of your own thoughts and feelings. Sometimes you have to surrender what it is that you want to do for what God wants you to do. Surrender in God, surrender in faith, surrender in Christ takes an extreme amount of effort and is not easy. It is difficult. But the difficulty is worth the effort. The effort is worth the difficulty. And so I want to encourage you today that if you feel like you've been stumbling in the faith, if you feel like you have, that it really hasn't been difficult, but you're feeling kind of lost or wishy-washy, or maybe you're just feeling empty or just feeling numb, do the hard work of faith. Do the hard work of surrender. Search yourself. Pray through those psalm prayers, 139, verses 23 to 24, Psalm 51, verses 10, 11, and 12. And invite God in to begin to do the work that he's been longing to do in your life. Every single day, invite him in. Because there's always work to be done. We are always being transformed. We may well be restored in relationship to God, but we are always being transformed in that relationship because we don't look like he created us to look. It takes effort, and that effort is worth every minute. I hope you guys are doing well. I miss you all. Those of you that I haven't seen or talked to, a few of you are crossing my mind. I'm thinking of Delbert Landis. I haven't talked to him in months. I should probably get on the phone. Saying it in this video is good for me because it's going to require me to do it. Not that I haven't wanted to, it's just making phone calls and doing those types of things hasn't really come that easy for me. This is just my humanity and my humanness being shared to you. I love him. The rest of the Landis family, for that matter. Gosh, there's just some other. I see faces, and I miss you all. But I am praying for you all, and I hope you're doing well. I'm hoping to get back to a more collected in-person gathering where more of us are here praising the Lord and singing our worship and allowing God to work in us and teach us together. I know that I'm the pastor, and I know that I'm bringing a sermon or a message to you. But gosh, I got to tell you, as I'm preparing for Sundays and as I'm speaking on Sundays, I just feel the Lord sharpening me and molding and shaping me ever more every time. And so I'm getting as much out of it as maybe you are, and maybe you aren't. I don't know. But I hope so. I do. I hope so. I hope that you're allowing God to do work in your life. And so surrender today. Get down on the floor. Gain a new perspective today. Look around. Think of something different. Connect with God in a different way. And pray for your eyes to be opened. Pray for clarity. Pray for him to lead you and guide you in a way that you've maybe never been led or guided before. Maybe you Maybe you'll discover there's some things in your life that he still wants to work out in you. And if he does, if you do, surrender those things. I love you guys. We'll see you on Friday, hopefully with more direction for the message on Sunday. But nevertheless, I'll bring another rambling message like this, hoping to just encourage and express my love for you. Have a great day.